Hi, welcome to a new episode of Walk Through Clarksville. My name is Raymond, and thank you for joining us. Today's video is going to be something a little unique. Instead of walking just through Clarksville, we're going to walk through the entire Montgomery County area, for the most part. We're going to cover certain districts, certain areas, and especially if you've ever wondered, why is Peters Mill Road called Peters Mill? Why is Port Royal called Port Royal? Why is that important? Those are some of the few areas that we'll cover. Montgomery County was initially part of North Carolina. The state was founded in 1796, and Clarksville was founded in 1784. So Clarksville is older than the state of Tennessee. So Clarksville is pretty much found, as you can see in the map behind me. This map is from 1932, and this is the map that we're going to base most of the area that we're at. So as you can see, District 12 is where Clarksville is founded. And most county seats, like Clarksville, it's found in almost the center of the county. Clarksville is named after George Rogers Clark, and Montgomery County is named after John Montgomery, both Revolutionary War veterans, and they were also explorers in this region. The original district map was drawn in 1836, but since then it's grown and some pieces have kind of been added to other counties. For example, District 14, which is found in this area here, was given to Cheatham County in 1859, if I remember correctly. So as you can see, the map has large numbers, and those are the district areas that we're going to cover. So the first district we're going to cover is District 2 and District 3. So District 2 and 3 are, just like most communities peppered across Montgomery County, they're based off of communities, off of people, and off of their livelihood. Most communities will have a primary building, and 9 times out of 10, it's a church where they come together as a community and they worship together. Secondary to that would be their personal businesses, mills, general stores, things like that would bring communities together as well. Commerce would bring things together. And District 2 and 3, right in the middle of it, is the Peters Mill. It is named after a man who owned a mill, and his first name was Peter. At that mill, he would make hay, he would make wheat, he would also sell denim. And just like most communities, it's centered in and around that area. To the west of Peters Mill is Ringgold Mill, and Ringgold Mill today is right on your way up to Fort Campbell. It's located, as you're heading towards Fort Campbell, it's on the east. Sadly, the 1885 building was destroyed in a flood and also damaged pretty badly and was knocked down in 2012. But that building had been a post office, had been a school, had been a library as well. So a lot of the buildings that we're going to talk about, a lot of the areas that we're going to talk about wore many hats. Moving westward towards the District 4 area, that community was originally Jordan Springs. Jordan Springs was just a normal farming community. Later, in 1942, the federal government purchased that land and made it into Camp Campbell, later changing into Fort Campbell. A lot of the individuals that lived in District 4, they were okay with moving. They got compensation from the federal government, but some did not want to move. They said, I was raised here, I had my life here, and they didn't want to move. Some of them had to be moved by force. And keep in mind, this is all before Pearl Harbor. So at the very least of the purchasing of the land. So the mood of the country was a little different back then. But when Fort Campbell was then established, the paratroopers, or those individuals, mighty brave soldiers jumping out of airplanes, especially on D-Day, had a lot of the training there. The HBO miniseries, Band of Brothers, is based off of Fort Campbell soldiers. Heading further south, this area here, as you can see in the map behind me, is District 7, also known as New Providence. Originally founded in 1819 and called Cumberland Town As the city grew and the population grew, it changed in 1842 to New Providence. It was the only community that actually had a charter as allowing city aldermen and a mayor to be formed. The original downtown for New Providence is located near Oak Street, and also a little Civil War connection. Fort Defiance was originally established by the Confederacy, but because of the fierce battle going on in neighboring Stewart County in Dover, the Battle of Fort Donelson, they had runners that came from Fort Donelson to Fort Defiance. The Confederacy retreated further east. Heading further south, southwest, District 19. It's the kind of the major areas in that district is Palmyra, Tarsus, and Sailor's Rest. There's an apocryphal kind of story that comes from, and there's actually two, from Sailor's Rest, noting that either there was a sailor that was, or bargeman that was on a boat, and sadly he fell overboard, and that's where he met his last rest, where he perished, or it was a sailor that loved the area and decided to have a retirement home there, retirement area. It's more the latter. A man by the name of George West purchased that area near Sailor's Rest, and he was a Revolutionary War sailor, and so he ended up retiring there, living in that area, encouraged his father, I believe he was from Virginia, if I'm not mistaken, but encouraged his father and fellow sailors to come to Sailor's Rest to live. There was a furnace down there in Sailor's Rest, and also there was a post office. The newly kind of constructed Louisville-Nashville Railroad, which passed through Sailor's Rest, was kind of contemplating calling that town Rivertown, but he convinced them to call it Sailor's Rest. They put a post office there as well. Heading now towards the eastern portion of Montgomery County, District 5, also known as Port Royal. The Port Royal area was kind of a small kind of farming and also river-based community. And it was founded in 1797, a year after statehood, and it was pretty much about 30 acres. It was laid down by Samuel Wilcox, kind of blocked off and given certain lots for real estate for sale. There's also a very large black community that lives in and around Port Royal. And it also ended up being the last Tennessee stop on the Trail of Tears. Also, too, in years past, it was one of the oldest covered bridges located in Port Royal. Sadly, in 2016, because of some massive floods, the Port Royal Bridge collapsed. There's remnants of it still at the park. The historical information that I was able to find about some of the districts that we mentioned today are found in this fantastic book, Montgomery County, Tennessee Family History Book, published in 2000. It is full of a wealth of information of the other 22 districts and areas and communities, and some of the individuals and the folks that kind of helped shape that area. This book can be found at your Clarksville-Montgomery County Public Library. Thank you for joining us today.